Good morning, Roni, and thank you for taking the time to speak to us. As you know, Melty Inside, it's a platform for the artisan food makers like yourself to tell the story. So I'm very excited to talk to you and just get to know you more. So let's start from the
Morning.
beginning. Tell us about yourself.
I'm naturally born Filipino, born and raised, educated in the Philippines. Pretty much that's my childhood. I come from a military family, which means that we moved around quite a bit, mostly around the Philippines and at one point in the US. That's pretty much like me growing up. So there was not one particular place that I grew up in. I grew up in a lot of places.
Is there any favorite place where you spend your childhood in?
I'm fond of the place where I grew up or spent the most time in, which is in Alabang. It's a city in the south of Metro Manila, and pretty much that's where I kind of learned life.
How long did you spend there?
So that's the area where I basically went to grade school until high school. My second favorite is when I went to uni because I was free. I didn't live in the house. I was staying in campus. And for me, that was freedom.
So where did you learn cooking then?
I basically learned cooking from watching my mom, my cousins, because they're all the cooks.
Okay.
At that time, I didn't know how to cook. But I did started to dabble in cooking. I actually started baking at 12. And it's because my family doesn't bake.
Okay.
So I tried to do something that they don't do. It's just to create variety,
Yeah.
I think, for the most part. And then obviously as I grew up, I said, oh, I gotta learn how to cook like main meals. But then because they would cook the normal meals at home. So I tried to learn different cuisine. Like I started with Italian and French in just following cookbooks. Really, I would be the one cooking on special occasions, like let's say Christmas, New Year's dinner. That's my turf.
You're the one that's the sort of the superstars for the events then.
Well, I'd like to think so.
So in a family gathering, what's the most number of people you normally have to cook then?
Ooh, anywhere between 20 to 30.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a big family. Just like, especially Christmas time, where, we would all go to one house. So it depends. Like, it can be our house or it can be my aunt's house or my Lola's house. Lola means grandmother.
Okay.
So whoever's the host would put the food. But most of the time, we would sort of like bring something like potluck.
Yeah. Is it popular in the Philippines then, the potluck style?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, wow.
Because especially like for birthdays as well, like because we're quite spread out. So in certain areas where some of my cousins would live, they would have their own delicacies there or like their famous dishes. What we would do is like they will bring that popular dish when we have a gathering.
Okay.
And then you have all the really nice stuff on the table.
Yeah. Was it at the beginning, right at the beginning, that you want to be a chef, or was it something that over time emerged to be where you want to go?
I actually fell into it by accident.
Tell us about it.
I've always liked food. That's one of the things that growing up I learned that I really enjoy. I like eating. And sometimes I would go like, ooh, when you eat out in restaurants, and that's one of the things I enjoy as well. I would go like, ooh, I think I can cook this, and I would try to experiment at home. So that's how I evolved as a cook. Basically, when I came here and I was meeting with friends, we started looking at restaurants. There are not many Filipino restaurants, so we said, okay, why don't we start something? And pretty much that's how I landed being, chef or a cook by accident. It was more like a need-driven kind of thing.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people have a need to cook, but not many people, get into such a high standard that they become a professional chef.
Yeah, I'm self-taught, so
Mm. What inspired you to start RoniB's then?
okay. It was back in 2016. I was running a different business with one of my friends, and we were doing supper clubs. One of the things that happened that year, I got a call to join this TV show called Kirsty Alsop's Handmade Christmas, wherein they were going to do a sort of like an alternative Christmas dish cook-off. And they invited four supper club owners or people who run supper clubs, and we did a little cook-off. So I did my Christmas thing. I won that cook-off, and I said to myself, okay, there is a place for my cuisine. At the time, there were a lot of people doing supper clubs, and it was getting harder to get, your bookings up and get the correct numbers there. So I said, okay, how do I get people to appreciate my cuisine? And I said, I'll put them in a jar or in a bottle. That's how RoniB's Kitchen was born.
After so many years, is it what you expected? Any surprises?
Winning my first Great Taste was a real surprise. It felt really good. That it felt I was appreciated for doing this product. And we said, okay, because it's all about validation for my cuisine. That's why I keep doing it. 4 years down the line, every year I would get one, and I go like, yeah, definitely there is a place for my cuisine here. So that would be my biggest surprise.
And what would you say has helped you the most throughout this journey?
I would say my partner, Steve. He has been very encouraging. He's in the background, but he's my rock.
Is he the reason that you're in the UK?
No, I came in the UK. I met him here, actually. I came in the UK in 2002. I needed a change of scenery. And I came to Europe in 1996 when I was running a different business back in the Philippines, which was basically, those big digital bus ads that you see on buses. I launched that in the Philippines in 1996. So that was my gateway to come to Europe, because my suppliers were based in Belgium. So I went to Belgium and France, and I fell in love with Europe pretty much. So I said, okay, if I'm going to live overseas, it will be Europe, not the US. And looking at the countries, okay, which country would be easy for me in terms of language? And I go like, UK. One event led to another. I met some British who became my friends in the Philippines, and they encouraged me to come, and I did, and that was 2002.
In all business and in all journey as an entrepreneur, you would have, some ups and downs, and you mentioned
yes.
Steve was your biggest support. How do you normally motivate yourself? I mean, I would like to learn some, because I'm, still trying to get used to some of these sort of ups and downs.
Oh God. One thing I think I've learned from running other businesses before, it will always be an uphill climb. And I think just being aware of that kind of helps. When I do get knocked down quite a bit, I would take a step back. And what I would do, I would read some of the reviews that people give me. And that kind of helps. And then I remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. And because I also go to markets and I actually interact with my customers, those are the things that I would try and remember to myself and say, right, these are the reasons why I should keep going.
Some of the audience, watching this, they may not have had the chance to try your products yet, or even, not knowing what the Philippines cuisine tastes like. What would you tell them, or how would you explain to them?
Philippine cuisine is quite diverse and varied. So if you look at the map of the Philippines, we have 3 main islands. And the cuisine from north to south varies. It's quite regional in itself. It is very steeped in history and all the food ways that went through the Philippines. So it is a combination of Malay, Chinese, Spanish, South American, and American. It's very and down in the deep south in Mindanao, we also have Arabic influences.
That is a very diverse mix.
It is. So that's why when people ask me, how would you describe Filipino food? It is bold and complex and diverse.
Okay.
And very steeped in history. Steve would like to call it, it's 900 years it's 900 years in the making and the original fusion food.
Okay, that's an interesting one. And is it spicy, sweet, sort of normally what sort of flavors people should expect?
So at the core of it, we are sour, salty, sweet. Okay. That is the taste profile. But it also it changes a little bit as you go through the geography of the country. So up in the north, it would be bitter and salty. The spicy ones would be in the south, particularly in one province called Bicol, which is where they love their chilies. Typically, we're not like a hot, spicy kind of cuisine. We like it, but it's not super spicy. We like it quite delicate. And I think that's how I reflect it in my products. It's not, although I would say it's extra hot to us.
Really?
Yeah. So we like a little bit of heat, but we don't like it burning.
Yeah. I try one or two of them maybe at the trade shows, but also afterwards. And there's a kick, but it's not a burning. It's nice.
It's not a burning.
It gives it a bit of sparks, I would say. A bit more texture. Yeah.
Yeah. I call it a little party in the mouth.
I'll remember that one. Of your products. If someone is new to, using these sort of more adventurous sort of ingredients and sauces, would there be any particular products that you would recommend them to start with?
The way I would answer that question when I do get it is, I would first ask them, what are you cooking tonight? And whatever they would say, then I would say, then this is the product that you should use. So example, I had one who said, oh, I'm doing some a barbecue. And I would say, well, you can combine, let's say, my barbecue sauce and my black bean paste with your baby back ribs and put it in the barbie. Then you've got the blend of flavors with the two products. And I said, but if you only want one or the other, then you can choose just the barbecue sauce as a marinade, or just the black bean chili paste for a little bit of oomph.
Is there any favorite within your household that you used to cook all the time yourself?
That would be adobo.
Oh yeah, that's surprise.
Surprise. In any Filipino household, we will have adobo at least once a week.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. But remember, adobo as well has many variations. The way I describe it to my customers when I'm in the market is, if there are 7,000 islands in the Philippines, there are 7,000 variations of adobo.
Wow.
Because adobo dish it's more a cooking method rather than a dish. It means it's stewed or braised or marinade. And Filipino adobo is basically different from the Mexican adobo or the Spanish adobo. The Mexican and the Spanish have chilies. We don't.
Interesting. Now you're getting me a bit hungry, although it's only morning.
Well, I'm getting hungry too now.
But obviously, we need to talk about, what something that you must be celebrating in the last few weeks about, winning the
Oh, yes.
latest Great Taste Award. And
Yes.
one of the things that I've learned through talking and meeting a lot of the makers is you all started the journey because you're passionate about what you do and you love cooking, you love food. But obviously, winning the awards, as you said earlier, it's a major, it's a significant, not just a milestone, but also is a recognition, from the train.
Mm.
And why do you think that the judges like your products?
I would like to think that because, number one, it's unique. It's not something that they encounter, every time they go to a store or supermarket or grocery. But I would like to think that they like it because it tastes great.
Do they give you feedback sometimes?
Yes, they do. So like I think in my Instagram post we post what the judges actually said, and yeah, it's a good way for as a producer to assess, like, okay, how do I improve this? But I mean, the last one, oh, it was just wow.
Well, you got the 3 stars, so how else can you improve it?
Yeah, well, the ones who are 1 or 2 stars are the ones that I need to improve.
So for the products that got 3 stars, did you kind of know it was brilliant already, or was it a real surprise to you?
It was a real surprise because, to be honest, the black bean chili paste, when we made it, it was actually by accident. We over whipped it, and it came out into a paste, and we're like, so we tried it, and we're like, well, that works. We'll keep it that way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I love these stories because always, it's not exactly how you plan. It just somehow emerged as a fantastic product.
Yeah. So when I got that phone call for the 3 stars, all I could say was, oh wow, thank you. I must have sounded like, yeah, that for me was like that big surprise. That is, of all, that is like, wow, finally. Because we would always joke, okay, we got the 1, we got the 2, now all we need is 3. And then it came, and we got like, wow.
So from when you started to you got the 3, how many years again?
How many years? So this is the 4th year for the Great Taste.
Right.
But I started a company as a side hustle in 2017. So I only did it full time in 2019.
Okay. Yeah,
and
so
of course,
that's only 3 years. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really, really lovely talking to you. I think maybe my final question is, one thing that I always would like is to create a community that makers can support each other, can work with each other. What would you say to, some others who are still, trying, not necessarily to get the awards, but to try to, establish their business? What would you say to them?
Keep going. You will always face challenges. You can always reach out to other small businesses. Join communities. That's where you will get support. But keep going. As long as in your heart and in your mind, that is what you want to do. Just keep on.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the wisdom and the word of encouragement. Well, lovely talking to you. And hopefully next time we talk to you, you will have a few other celebrations and maybe the one in September?
Hopefully.
All the best. All the best.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.